Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the T.O.A Podcast. I am your host, Onvermel. Welcome back, and it's great to hear today, my friends, brothers, gathered friends, as one would put it. Introduce yourselves. I don't want to introduce you
Hey,
guys.
I'm Eck. How's it going?
Trashy, apparently. I don't know. That's a lie. I lied to all of you.
Zach here. I'm just hanging.
Yeah, there we go. All three of us here. Sadly,
Hanging
Alon
by
is
the
not
neck?
here.
Hanging by.
Yeah, no, we haven't done much podcast
thick
lately, and then I realized it was Barnacle Day this week, and I'm like, well, gotta get a podcast in for this. And, we
Very
both,
important day in the
luckily
life of a
enough-
Barnacle fan.
very important day. And luckily enough, we've all been in relatively Barnacle moods. Whether or not it's fully Barnacle, it's kind of been intermittent in the last few month or so, where it keeps popping in. The classic space comes in, but you kind of swing back to Barnacle, then something Castle, you swing back to Barnacle.
Or Black Sean.
Yeah. However, in regards to the last podcast we made with regards to the 90th anniversary, there's been no news whatsoever about anything Barnacle related. So unfortunately, it's a good chance it might have still just been.
We're going to have to talk about something else.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I was just going to say, there's been no news on that. So, by the time this podcast comes out, it will be on Barnacle Day when the cast gets released. So, if there is a Barnacle freebie or something, we don't know about
This
it
will
yet.
actually be 2 days after the cast gets released to the general public, because that's August 8th. The castle is already available to VIPs at the time of recording.
Though we're
Yes.
still waiting to see if there's going to be some special promotion with Barnacle Day exclusive.
That was weird.
What?
Just the computer glitched there for a moment.
That's fine. Ignore the weird glitch.
I just stared at the wrong time. It's fine.
It's fine. But no, so basically, anything in regards to our previous podcast, there's no new updates, and more likely not, there's nothing going to be happening. I was hoping that maybe some news would be happening, but let's be honest, it was a Tumblr.
More leaks?
Let's remember, it was a Tumblr post, so no, it could have just been a really good fake. Just saying. But, like I said, when this comes out, we'll know one way or for sure, and your TV now, I realize, looks like TOW 3000, and I do not like that.
Yeah, watch out for my TV. It's evil.
However, I definitely, for other Barnacle stuff I want to talk about, at least specifically for me, I was thinking about the other T.O.A elements, specifically. Just because...
yes,
well,
the non-set ones.
Well, it's because
The
for
closest to
some of the elements, there is more distinction, there's more, lore to it. Something like Sonic, there's a fair bit to, the type of Matoran Sonic and Matoran are. They're like Comatorn. They talk less.
And they're more
Antisocial.
antisocial, yes.
Honestly, they're like Comatorn, but less scholarly.
If you honestly want to think about it, the most official of the additional elements would honestly be magnetism, because T.O.A Joven, the combo model, existed.
I would say Sonic more so because of Krakua.
That was
Yes,
fan
Krakua was first.
He was the first non of the original.
Yes, but he is not
six.
made from a combo model of.
I feel like a combo mod that was only in the magazines is almost less canon, because Joven's power actually didn't mention any magnetism in there. Let's be honest, they're both just grays and blacks, so they're both kind of just, which kind of sucked. But with just different the elements, I was like, I know at least with Plasma, there's nothing to it. You don't know anything about Plasma Torn. All they know is that they're Sumatorn, they're Plasma, and their colors are orange and white.
We have our own head.
And their name is Sue.
Yes, we have a little, at least me and myself and Eck very much have gone to a headcanon about Plasma. You got Fires who are the hotheads. You have Homatorn who are the carvers. They're the most prideful, perhaps I would say. Onimatorn are the hardworking, down to earth kind of.
They're so down to earth, they're
The
idiots.
Limatorn are kind of the chill hippies. So now then Eck and I basically just had that Plasmatorn are pompous British pricks. Essentially, would be the best way to describe them.
I know we've established that they're generally taller than the average.
Well, that's T.O.A, at least, really for T.O.A, because, Pomatorn, T.O.A Stone always short, same with T.O.A. Plasma, every time Eck and I have made one, they've always made them, noticeably taller than all the other team.
Therefore, our headcanon has Plasma T.O.A as taller.
Tall, pompous pricks. Which I kind of like the idea, because you know what? I feel like some of these other elements need a little bit of, one noting into the characters, because all the other elements, because every time you see them are all pretty much the same. Tamatorn are always hotheads, the T.O.A are always hotheads. Jiao's the exception because he's trying very, very hard not to.
I would say Lee Kun's not really a hothead.
Well, he's also
hot,
old.
right?
Maybe he was at one point. So
It's that mask. It's not about that mask.
But there's generally that general, at least with Manal, there's always that kind of general idea, okay, Tomatorn are this. That's basically just stereotyping them.
Yes.
So the stereotype for Plasmatorn are that they're pompous pricks.
Until they learn to be otherwise.
Don't get me wrong. When it comes down to Torn of Plant Controller Beaumatorn. I very much have an idea how I like to see him as.
Yes, the headcanon of Mr. Onvermel here. They are
very much lazy, fishing, swamp-dwelling bums. Like, the most chill people, like, laid back. Like, you think Beaumatorn are very loose? Well, Beaumatorn are, like, laid back. Like, pretty much, think the stereotypical, like, Mexican town where everyone's just chilling there on the side of the road, just taking naps in the middle of the day. Imagine that, but in a swamp, and then they fish. Like, fishing is the most active activity they do. And it's, like, really hard to
And they don't catch fish, no. They just fish, but they don't catch fish. That kind of fishing, you know?
That kind of lifestyle, just chill back, relax, man. Perhaps stoners, maybe get a little bit into that.
There are plants, and marijuana is a plant.
So that's I do find that really funny. But I very much like the idea that, and the only time I made a plant control T.O.A is that he's generally both times when I make plant control T.O.A, I do make them the T.O.A shorter, so they're also like shorter T.O.A, like for reasons. Well, the first one was just more of a joke, but I just like them being short.
Which is hilarious because mine is canonically on the taller end.
I mean, plant control T.O.A, like, or overall, are just kind of on that thing of. I try not to make too many of them just because, like, well, there shouldn't be that many because they basically had them and then they changed the drapings changed to air and it was like, well, let's just not.
Is that a thing? The Great Beans changed to air? I know that.
There's a reason why there's like. I think that basically said like in the early days, like Greg was saying that there isn't a lot of plant control T.O.A because they're like early in development. Basically, Great Beans decided to basically change as a standard 6 to basically air, so there's not very many of them.
Sounds like it would apply to all of their elements.
Luckily enough, also iron though, they do have a general idea of what you can expect Iron Matorn to be like. Blacksmiths, just blacksmiths. Just picture.
I never could have guessed this.
Not like Tony Stark nerdy kind of inventors. They're like no. These are metal deal. These are welders. These are people who know how to deal with metal. Because they're T.O.A iron.
They make all the best weapons.
Which they don't control just iron. They control metal, but they're called T.O.A iron.
It sounds nice.
Which, by the way, for those who aren't Bionicle nerds, the Matorn of Iron, the prefix is Fe, F-E, so the Fe Matorn, which also, for any nerds
I liked it Fe Matorn.
Fe Matorn, so, Iron is F-E. Everyone knows that, but I just feel like pointing that out for that one person who might not know. We have 50 subscribers, so maybe one person didn't know that.
It's possible.
I didn't know you had so many.
Yes, we officially have 50 subscribers, everyone.
Does this mean we have
50 subscriber special! Yay! Bionicle Day 50 subscriber special!
Yay!
So
it did happen after the other one. So this is the first video that happens after the 50 subscribers.
Oh, do we have to bury a new one in the dirt or something?
No. He's 100 subscribers and we are burying a new one in the dirt.
Okay, so 50 is we have a drink of Tohunga.
No, 50 subscriber special. We're going to have
nothing.
Actually, I was going to say one thing that we do want to do at some point, and this has to do with, I don't know if we had a podcast talking about the time category in general. We did. At some point, we're going to have green Kool-Aid with vodka on it because of an inside joke with that. So, I don't know what. Maybe, I don't know. One of these days, I kind of want to do more on-camera stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find a way to.
This does feel like something that needs to be on camera. We need to see the reactions we got here.
I'll make it happen. So.
I will say with the off-element T.O.A, in general, I feel like we don't want to make as many of them because it just feels like they weren't as prominent. Except T.O.A Psionics. I, for some reason, seem to wind up with a lot of T.O.A Psionics.
It's because it's an excuse to use gold, I think, is a large part to it. And gold and dark blue
is very sharp
generally a nice color scheme. Look,
gold and blue is really sharp.
Just look at Futaka.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, even Crownies are gold and dark blue in a way. So it's just it's a color scheme that works, and because there's so many gold masks between Gen 2, Stars Tower, the original T.O.A, Futaka, the Mask of Life, Mask of Time, there's a lot of gold to work with. Generally, back in the day before, the Hero Factory came out, okay, not a lot of gold, a little bit, but still a decent amount. But Hero Factory has just given us so much gold, and Gen 2 gave us so much gold, it's just...
Yeah, we don't know what to do with gold, and since we like to stand by the rules of color schemes, we tend to make psionic T.O.A if we have a gold armored being.
Well, you do. I just don't use gold.
I've used gold pretty much I've used it a little bit. The most gold I ever used was on T.O.A Basson. He's a very, very gold T.O.A and he's giant and buff, and he's not from this universe. He's from, I don't know what universe. He's big and buff, but he's big and buff. That's a whole inside joke that One of these days, Ack and myself are going to have to go through the whole counter narcotics thing. We'll have to do that next time for a podcast. But yeah, no, like with the off-tour colors, like I like the idea that I like the idea like each one should have at least a quick basic like description of like what the stereotypes are. I personally like to think that Matoran are gravity, which I think is Ba Matoran. Should have the stereotype of they're very much by the book workers. Like they have their job and they will do it by the letter. Like it's like okay, guard this room. That Matoran's going to be guarding that room until the shift is done. He doesn't leave, doesn't do anything else. Like he will guard it.
Kind of sounds like how a new Matoran should have worked.
Our Matoran though are a little bit more, I would say, southern, blue collary in that sense.
Onu Matoran will put in the overtime.
I would say
the Gravity Matoran won't.
They won't. They'll very much do it like.
It's the 9 to 5. It is 5 o'clock, and
it's your shift.
It's like they take. I would say that people would maybe take things very literally, because I don't know if there's any Matoran that do that. Now, for me specifically, this is a kind of a contradiction because Onvermel is me, my main character essentially in my general universe, and he does not take things literally.
Yeah, remember though, if you become a T.O.A, you're usually quirky.
He could be the exception, but that's the bliss. That's just the stereotype of Bamatoran, is that you think they take things literally because every time you're probably involved with them, it's probably a business related thing. Like when Bamatoran are on their job is when you're talking to them and doing stuff with them. So of course they're going to take things literally. So be careful of your punctuation with their letters.
So what about Matoran? Matoran of lightning.
I see them as very short attention spans, very sporadic and very
sparky people.
Very sparky, very friendly. Like kind of.
I think of them like they're kind of like in the builder to like they work with electricity. So they like if any Matoran would make computers, it's these guys.
Oh, so they're a bunch of keyboard nerds.
I don't know. I'm going with the more. I'm definitely more leaning to the sparky, outgoing.
So essentially, you would have like.
Well, think like outgoing nerds.
At least personality-wise, they're I would say very sparky. But because of spark, when I think people who are very sparky, I picture people who also have very short attention spans.
Well, they're like always working on like 4 or 5 different projects,
So they're like the multitaskers of multitaskers.
But they get things started.
Well, just like lightning, they jump here and there really quickly, all over the place. I kind of like the idea that they're the programmers, essentially. You have the Matoran of Iron who actually build the physical stuff. You have like the more Oni Matoran who are more the mechanics, per se. But then when it comes down to actual programming, that's where Matoran.
And this is why there are no computers in the biological universe. They can't sit still long enough to program anything.
I knew it.
There's constant theories about, oh yes, we could do this with these crazy things, and all the other Matoran like, yeah, but are you ever going to actually finish?
I get it. I'm getting to it.
And that's where the Matoran are just all like, at least we don't make false promises we can't keep. We do nothing and we admit it.
Nothing wrong with that, Morton. Nothing wrong with that. I gotta just explain that. So, in my very first group of Matoran I made were 3 Matoran, all with mirrors.
Yep.
They're all pretty much the exact same. And so I call them Morton, Horton, and Gordon. And the line that stuck with them from Horton Hears a Who is Horton talking to Morton saying, nothing wrong with this, Morton. Nothing wrong with this. And so the joke is that every time Morton says something in the village, he's like the coolest. Apparently, like as far as Matoran go, he's like the most popular, cool one as they can get it. And pretty much you said that just everyone like within earshot will reply, nothing wrong with this, Morton. Nothing wrong with this. That's pretty much their Hakuna Matata saying nothing wrong with this.
Yep.
They're very positive people. Lazy,
but
chill,
positive.
But positive. If he had captured one be like, nothing wrong. It's like, kick back, relax. Nothing wrong. This isn't too bad.
Well, Expo was
sometimes I forget that Matoran are the female group.
What?
The
Matoran.
The Matoran of Lightning.
They are indeed.
Variki really kind of messes with your head.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that Variki's in my head, it's a little hard to always remember that, but...
My personal headcanon, they're both genders.
That's the one thing I kind of wish the other elements did, was basically like, you know what?
Take Variki into account!
They have both.
I would say...
Although Variki also mentions it because his color scheme's also gravity.
They could have fixed that a long time ago, too.
I would have been okay with being a Toe of Lightning.
No.
Palpatine. Well,
Yeah.
so George,
Power of the
if
Senate.
purple was lightning, Onvermel would be a Toe of lightning,
That is true.
which means I'd be a Sith. Zap, zap, zap.
If there
You
was
would have a
a
cape.
You know what's funny? I
element,
haven't a new one with the cape, so I have already a Picard wearing Sith.
Hmm.
I'm not explaining that to you people.
if you were to add elements to have both genders, I would say plan control would certainly be the prime target to have
The
as a
green,
male
yeah.
and female options.
Yeah. Because, green is male, blue is female.
And
These
I
are
was just
blue
thinking-
and green.
I was just gonna think very
Honestly,
nature.
if
It
there's
kinda goes
anything
both
that
ways.
should have been retconned,
Mother Nature and all that.
if there's anything that Greg should have just retconned, was just that any element could have male and female.
It's just there tends to be
It
more
would have just
preference
opened
to
up
one
so
or
much
the
more
other.
freedom for so many people who like to stick by canon.
Most people don't stick by canon except me. I'm very much stuck in my ways with
I
that.
stick by canon except when I'm making representations of real people.
For me, it's just one of those things, but I do wish that those other elements really opened up. Now, my least favorite element of T.O.A is psionic.
Boring.
I don't think it's the worst. It's like mind control or like mind powers. I've always thought mind powers are either OP or boring. It's like they're either boring, but once they become cool, then they become OP. So it's just like, and plus, it's like, okay, I don't mind the color scheme of blue and gold. However, the reason why I don't like them being blue and gold is, Tove Light are gold. They're the cool, special, unique. Takano is cool and special and unique.
He's
He's
all
the
gold.
only gold Toa.
They aren't all gold, they're
Like,
blue with
I
a
would-
hint of gold. Or is it gold
blue
with a
and
hint of
gold.
blue?
It's pretty much, I think, like a pretty heavy, like 50-50
I just think that the
premise.
premise, whole power of it just doesn't quite line
It doesn't
up with all
feel
the
like
other
an element.
powers. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like an element.
Yeah, no, so it's like, it's the one that I've always looked at and went, I like that it gives me an excuse to make blue and gold characters, but I look and just go, Especially because my main Toa, my Toa Psionic, Norma, is honestly one of my favorite Toa I've created. However, it's one of my least favorite elements.
I would definitely say that if you were to, decanonize most of the off elements, but were to keep one or two, I would say plan control has the most leg to stay on as being the seventh or eighth element.
It does, except actually, how me and myself were talking about this, and he said one reason why it doesn't work is think of the Great Spirit Robot. Where is there any organic life in that thing? There's virtually shouldn't technically be any organic life in the Great
No,
Spirit
there's
Robot.
organic life.
Clearly, a bug got in there.
There's maybe some biomechanical plants, but
Nowhere does it say the plants in there are biomechanical.
But it's you think about it. Look at Metronui. There's no plants on that.
That's
let's be honest.
Metronui, but the other
There's
islands
no-
are known
Let's
for
be honest.
being...
If the Morkabuza was managing Metronui, why does the plant control Tokyo just go shoot, 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 shoot? But I'm like, but is an idea reason why maybe they the Great Beans backpedaled on the plant control, saying this probably won't be nearly as useful.
But still, you think Toa Plasma,
well,
that's kind of...
here's an idea. Grap, our giant robot got an infestation of some plants. We need something to get these plants under
Fun.
control.
I mean, it's not saying they don't have a purpose, but I could sort of see why maybe that one. I still think lightning, essentially Variki, let's be honest, whoever made Variki back in the day,
yeah.
he was onto something right off the bat.
I would say lightning definitely is a good one. Gravity is definitely OP, but I'm okay. I can live with that. That's a very unique...
Plasma
Lightning
needed.
isn't really
Plasma,
far from just
no.
light, though.
Plasma and
Okay.
Psionic could...
Lightning and light, one's
Well,
I
one's
think
electricity.
One's electricity. It just so happens to also have a lot of light go with it when zap happens.
Light's a side effect.
Yeah, light's a side effect of it. It's just like how
Light's a side effect of fire.
it's the way you kind of look at it. Our one I would say is the most obnoxious one they really don't need is plasma.
Plasma.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even
fire,
say...
but hotter.
I
Now,
would
don't
even
get me wrong,
say...
I like the fact that plasma gave us an excuse to use a predominantly orange and white. It's a good color scheme for a Toa.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very unique. You're not getting that confused with anything else. Not like
It's not confused with ice. You're not getting confused with fire. It's clearly
it is
its own
plasma.
color.
So it's I like that, but the element itself is no.
The element I definitely forget about the most, and I could certainly be fine without, is magnetism. It's basically...
We haven't talked about them all.
It's form of gravity to some extent, and let's be honest, the color palette is the boringest out there.
Let's be honest. The only reason why some of these elements exist probably was after Sonic came around, they had Sonic, right? And then and then Jobin became a magnetism, and then Greg was probably well,
There's
maybe
other
there's other Borak calls, so let's just do all the others.
They looked at
And-
vacuum like, oh,
Well,
that's
just
just
air, essentially.
The reverse of air. It's still air.
But even the Borg call kind of just show that's like the Borg call. They're not T.O.A, okay? And even like the regular Borg don't control elements the same way T.O.A do.
You gotta remember, the green Borg call didn't just suck up air; it also blasted back
Honestly,
out.
like I'm kind of thinking if you didn't have plasma,
Basically air.
if you didn't have plasma, could orange and white work as a different element?
Lightning, maybe?
It would have been nice to cut
I mean,
back on some
lightning
of the
also
blue.
really should be purple and black. Should be lightning.
If you were to make
And really,
orange,
when it comes to gravity, it's like
Orange and white?
there's no color that says, yeah, that's the color of gravity.
I bet some scientist somewhere will go, actually.
It's
I
like a
mean,
black hole.
if you want to
That's
get rid of
gravity, right?
psionics gold and blue, psionic could have
Orange.
It's more what the black hole. The gravity is a side effect of the immense mass. A black hole is just mass in a
Yeah,
singularity.
so when people think of black holes, they're like, oh, the super powerful gravity. And it's always sucking in light. So there's an orangey color there. So orange and black. It could be colored gravity.
Orange and black.
I like the orange and white color scheme better though.
It does
It stands out.
stand out more. Yeah.
Given that white is only used in ice, so
Well,
adding
And
any other
lightning technically, but that's a
That's
secondary rather than a primary. Which it kind of lightning annoys me with that. The reason why I don't. I originally, because I'm pretty sure originally lightning at one point either was confirmed or half confirmed to be yellow.
I think
do.
originally
However,
it was-
let's be honest, there's one very solid reason that it's not yellow anymore.
The
And
Ignite
I
Rock.
am looking at you, T.O.A of life. Because
Yep.
even when Hookie was around, yellow was still technically lightning.
I think
We're
the
making
color.
Kohachu orange, so this guy can stand out as being yellow.
I think. I
Yeah,
personally.
that's my theory why Patu's orange is
Should have gone with
tan.
tan.
I'm pretty sure the reason they changed from yellow to
Hookie
blue
orange.
and white was when they had a contest,
Yes.
which created Nicola, which I think which would have been like Mari
Well, yes.
Wave. The creator, I'm assuming, chose to make her blue and white, and when that won the contest, that became the canonical color, so yellow was no longer required.
Yeah, so.
That sounds
Though
about right.
it would have been nice if yellow
Still
had
kind
been
of bothers
reassigned.
me a little bit, especially for the sole reason of a lot of white characters have blue in their color scheme. So blue and white, you like are
There's
you?
even a blue character with white in her color scheme. Hallie.
Though honestly, if you're
Well,
taking,
Allie just looked like a 12 light.
if you were ignoring
Oh, no,
First
she
looks like a
kinda
total
is.
plant control if you look at the Mari.
Man, Allie's just stealing everyone's colors
Though-
apparently.
I like that if you look at like take Bariki out of the mix, I think the best color for a Toll of Lightning after purple and black would honestly be yellow, just because yellow feels kind of like electricity.
Oh, yellow would have been a great option.
Though even if you had like yellow with highlights of blue, that would have honestly been really cool.
That wouldn't be
Yellow blue?
bad.
No, I've been okay with that. Or even yellow with highlights of purple.
Heck, you could make it yellow and orange.
Ew, no.
No.
That's a little too
I didn't say it
fiery.
looked
I would say
good,
that's
I
a
just
little
said
too
you could.
fiery. Bringing the orange into there, I don't think that would.
Honestly, if you think like if you static shocks off and they're like a flash of kind of blue. So the blue I can make sense, but also the yellow and blue, two very electrically
it's like
related
I would
colors.
say this: when you say it's a tool of energy, purple works better. When you say it's specifically a tool of lightning, the only reason why the blue and white works with lightning is when you think of thunderstorms and paintings or stuff. Blue and bright whites, it's like
Yeah.
a thunderstorm. Blue and white makes sense for a thunderstorm or a like sea like storm or like all that sort of stuff.
No, so it should be more like gray and white.
But basically, if it was a Matoa weather control, blue and white would work better.
Yes.
However, because it's specifically energy or lightning, that's the point where I go, okay, that's where the blue does not work.
The yellow, if it had yellow depth, it would help to separate. This is not
Yellow
a
and
Toa.
white would be, I think, the most
Ooh.
appropriate
That would
for
be
energy.
pretty close to plasma though for looks.
But
If
we
you
want to
take
get rid
but
of
if you take-
plasma.
but yeah, but if you get rid of plasma,
Still,
Yeah,
but like
that's
you think,
I was
you
thinking
look
actually,
at a Toa of Lightning, maybe it's just the shades I've used, but blue and white doesn't really pop as a different element. You just sort of think of it as like a Toa of water.
I find you have to have it 50-50 in the color.
You have to go much
It
heavier.
sometimes
to
looks
the
too
white.
much like a toe of ice or toe of water, yeah, when you go
I-
too heavy one way.
I would say you have to go split down the middle. Pretty much 50-50 to rank it to like, okay.
If you're more blue, gotta have the white mask.
I would
if you're
say-
more white, gotta have a blue
I think one of
mask.
the best ways, like, yeah, basically, is like, whatever the body color is, have the mask be opposite color. And then you can get at least a decent, like,
balance
balance.
that way.
so it's like, not bad. I was actually thinking earlier this morning was like, plasma. Can you get away making control plasma using Keat orange and white? Because Keat orange is bright orange.
Given how many orange masks there's
And I was
actually
thinking about,
available,
But you also could call it dark yellow.
Dark yellow?
He would
Maybe.
still not like it because it's got yellow.
The other thing is like, you could get away. Also, I was thinking maybe a plan control tool using Hookie orange or burnt orange with white. I think that would look pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, that's a much more
thinking
orangey.
about it, like, you have like 3 shades of orange, and then you got both trans oranges. Like, actually, there's a lot of options for orange for mocking potential, which is why I like Plant Control as a color scheme. I like having orange and white as a color scheme.
Plant Control, well,
I just hate the elements.
well, blue and green, and you and I,
However,
Purple, have discovered there's a very good combination of blue and green. I do wish it was green and brown.
yes, okay. Before I get to that, I just want to finish up my plasma
Okay.
statement. The one thing about having a total plasma that is really, really fun, that any Star Wars fan might have a lot of fun with, is you can legit give them a lightsaber because that's just a plasma blade.
Yep.
So I'm like, you know what? That's the one redeeming quality of plasma.
Oh yeah, I was going to make myself another
Also,
plasma
younger
Toa
me
just to
totally
do
just
that.
thought plasma was acid when I was younger.
I would have thought plasma was like lava.
Tao would disagree.
I
Plasma
will.
would
Can't
Tao-
surf
Plasma and Tao
plasma.
just look and go, no.
I am
However-
surprised between us we don't have more Toa plasma just because there's a wide variety of
I have
orange
2.
masks.
I have 2, but
Well,
one's
yeah,
a
I
shared
have 2.
character with you.
What was your other one? Oh, yeah, you're a tall guy. Yeah.
I guess I have 2 too. I keep forgetting I have Ima.
So there's 6 of them. I have basically
And there's technically only 5, but there's 6.
I have a Nuva body build, and then I have Bakmu.
I have
totem.
Vokmu and Plazol, I think I called them.
Plazzle,
Plazol? Something like that.
something
I
like that.
can finally make a Poblo again.
My problem is I just don't like total plasma. I don't like the color scheme. I just like that it's different and unique. I find orange and white is a hard color scheme to make it. Oh, you know, I have a third total plasma. My total call.
Oh, yes, of course.
He's just trans orange with white. He's pretty cool. I like him. But with the both total plan control you're saying is, as Zaptan and I have discovered, we think that the best color of green and blue to use is dark green with baby blue, because it's the dark green's very green. It's very distinctly a green, but the baby blue is also bright enough that it's very distinctly blue.
And it's a dark with a light color, so there's lots of contrast.
Because both of us independently ended up making a total plan control with dark green and baby blue using the exact same mask. It's within a couple months of each other.
Hey, my Exalix is basically uses those colors.
Except not
With,
dark
like,
green.
He's
It's
got
like
some dark green.
It's mostly he has some
But
dark blue. He's dark blue, baby blue with turquoise and normal green. However, the shades of green kind of make it feel dark green.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's like greens with baby blue.
The
But
best,
no line.
The best alternative would be to go with multiple shades of green and multiple shades of blue.
Just go plain.
Basically,
wild.
just go wild with all shades
Lime
you've got.
with dark blue isn't bad either.
No, it looks too much like Hallie though, which kind of gives
It's
you
not
the
bad.
impression.
It's not bad.
Maybe if you were to go heavier in the lime and lighter
Well,
on
yeah.
the dark
Well,
blue.
obviously you'd have to go a little more lime than
50.
what
You have to go 50. This thing with plan control. It's 50-50. Like it's one of those ones that like in the
Or it's like
colors,
20-20-20-20-20 because you got so many shades.
10, 13, 20, 7, 2.
This has been something I've been doing, but the thing is, it's like, and I mean both because I posted a Toa Duma team that I made, and I made a plan control Toa for it using those colors, and it was like the Toa that got the most interest of people going, I like this color scheme. This looks nice. And normally using metric colors, doesn't look that good. Often, like the darker colors often don't pop, but like with the baby blue, it's good. And I like it, and even like some of my very first Bone Matorn, one of them did have a dark green Matorn body with a baby blue Matorn butt. Morton specifically. Kind of even had that color scheme with a little bit of normal blue and turquoise, but kind of was that. But no, magnetism, there's one reason why I really like them. There is so much metallic black part or pearl dark gray parts to use from with Hero Factory, Technic, Bionicle. There's just so much of it that is really fun.
When we
working
first
with them.
started making Toa, that was a scarcity. Now it's like, oh, I can actually make a whole character in this.
And even with the original silver Toa masks, because they're not like as silver, they're a little bit more of a like metally gray to it.
They're kind of halfway between pearl light gray and pearl dark gray.
They feel like steel, like real steel.
I
It's
really
not
like that
chrome.
shade of silver. I really wish they had used it for more than just those masks.
Honestly, some of the newer
Same
silver,
with the gold,
like
too.
the newer Hero Factory silver,
It's definitely
it's
closer.
closer. It's just less shiny. So like magnetism, I like the color scheme because it's predominantly the metal. It's different enough that it's like, you know what, that's fine. I don't mind it. However, bringing it up, the power's kind of lame. It's basically you stick it there. You
Well,
stick
I
over
think
there.
it'd be nicer if they had just another color to add to them, like red. Just a touch of red.
Ooh,
Like metal.
metallic
Like
black
think of
with
us
that hint of-
your
But okay,
stereotypical looking magnet.
this is why you would not
The
do
U
red.
shape.
Makuda's that metallic black and red.
It's not like you
I
can't
have
shoot.
no problems with that.
I don't hate it, but let's be honest. Joven was made out of. There was no Jala in his build.
No.
To be fair, we have sort of canonically changed
It would be nice
Sonic
to have
2.
another Toa use red in their color scheme because a lot of colors are used twice. Like blue's used several times.
Blue
white's
is
used
the
several
most
times,
used.
Yeah, that's like
Four.
red is
Green's
only
used
used on
twice.
Tahoe.
which is
or
nice
fire.
for fire. They know they look very, very important, very big boys. You know, good
Very
red.
red.
I mean, we've sort of canonically changed Sonic from being gray with black highlights to be more heavy
Silver
and
with
silver.
black.
Mostly silver, but yes, silver and black.
Pretty much, I just swapped out the gray with silver. Is what we all did.
Just
at
because
one
we
point.
wanted to pop
The only reason why
Because they look a lot like 12 Earth otherwise.
or magnetism.
Magnetism.
They just blended in the mix.
basically,
too much.
my problem was when I was building every element of Toa in a Nuva body. Guess what? To make a basically is a non-custom body like a Toa
Sonic.
Sonic, it would just be a Nuva with a dark gray mask and maybe dark gray feet. But oh wait, I made a Toa of Iron or a Magnetism, who is pretty much actually he's got metallic black Nuva armor, Bumpus. So it's like I couldn't give Bumpus the silver mask, but he's had that dark gray one forever. So it's like, dang it! It's like so I was like, you know what? I'm just spray painting stuff silver, so it's kind of my one.
I think when I started, I just was mistaken and thought it was silver. No, Kraku was obviously dark gray.
Yep, yeah. I don't know. Honestly, it's just a better color because no one has silver as a predominant color, and it's not a color that's taken
But
by
that's kind
anything
of
else.
fine, though. Like in a
Because
way,
silver is a
like,
good-
Because silver is you're
Armor.
upgraded. You're wearing armor, so therefore it's silver.
But at the same time, it's like nothing else is taken that
But-
color, so it's like you know what? Someone used it. It's like
Okay, but like
dang.
even if you wanted
Or-
to tone down the silver, make them light gray.
Or you could do this: make it predominantly silver with a little bit of white highlights in it. So basically emulating the Borg Hall, but basically really tone down the white. Like bring it like mostly silver with a few bit of white highlights. The way that like I don't know, you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have worked good, but
I don't think silver and white would have popped too much, but I definitely feel like silver would have been a better
yeah.
option than dark gray, or even like light gray, just something that would distinguish him better from other elements. Or get rid of magnetism and make him metallic black. Making Sonic metallic black and just get rid of
Krakoot does have a
magnetism.
little bit of metallic black on him, so
Is it metallic black or is it dark
his
gray?
chest is metallic black.
Sure, I
the
think you can
original
get
one.
that in dark gray too.
You can get in dark gray, but I thought the original model had a couple metallic black pieces on him. I could be wrong. I can't remember. So,
I can neither confirm nor deny this.
but this is the thing about bringing in extra elements is you look at like a lot of different stuff like Ninjago. You look at like Avatar. There's a reason why they generally stick with like 4 as the basic amount of stuff.
Because when you look at real life,
Avatar at least did
There's
this.
only like 4
Avatar did
canonical
the smart
elements.
thing though. Avatar was like, you know what? People can bend metal, at least in Legend of Korra, but that's just an offshoot of Earthbenders. It's really just like a specialized offshoot. They're like, no, there's 4 different kinds of benders, and anything else after that, like lightning, is a type of fire bending,
Because there is
or
only,
ice is a different type of water bending.
because there is only 4 elements: air,
And that's
fire,
when I
earth,
applaud
and water.
Avatar from like, you know what? You had the restraint that no one else has.
I feel like it's only been Lego that seems to insist on the 6 elements.
Well, it's like Bionicle was the one with 6 elements. Even Ninjago has 4:
Like-
fire, earth, ice, and lightning.
And then they get another fire.
Then
there.
water.
Then green.
Look at water. Like, wasn't Nia water?
Yes,
Weed.
water came in later, and then technically brought in like a whole bunch of others like time, invisibility, plant, speed.
Yeah, those aren't really
toxin.
elements.
They brought in all the different elements masters, and basically they've stuck with those elements. They haven't added any more in since then.
Yeah, I feel like Ninjago's just gone a little stagnant anyways.
I have no idea what's even doing now.
Electricity would have honestly, if you were to like go back to 6 elements, because we have stone and earth and we have ice and water. Ice I can sort of see being its thing, but I kind of feel like stone and earth, one of them, lightning would probably be like the best substitute to have a different element.
Or jungle. Plant
Jungle.
control.
Plant control.
If you ask a scientist, they'd probably say that ice and water are more similar than earth and stone. Because earth and stone, like, my brain goes, okay, soil, dirt, okay, that's earth, and rocks are stone. Okay, those are 2 different things.
I was my kid.
What
mind
about the
growing
toe of sand? We have toe of sand. Also known as Sandman.
No, Patu. I'm a toss. Well, I mean, Gen 2 Patu made sand tornadoes.
Explain to me how that works,
Wind
Pohan.
fly, Sand Twister from the Toe of Stone.
Are you sure this is my line?
Yeah, no, it's
Wind fly, Sand Twister.
one thing that I am actually happy about all of us though is we all have 12 like mocks. But guess what? We don't have 12. All of them are either, in your case, Zach, yours is just a Taknuva.
I am.
That's your only 12 life.
I used to have one that was a tan mob, but no,
These are only
Taknuva is
12,
my
right?
only one.
Alright, so you know, in universe, fine. I have 3. However, one's Toa Bojack, which is just a meme mock, so he doesn't count. Yes, it's a Toa Mata body with a horse head. So, self-explained. You can see it on my Tumblr. Just look up Onvermel Tumblr. Got it. I'm not getting any views out of that. And then I have Toa Basan, who's also kind of more of a meme character.
But he's much bigger and buffer.
But even in the story, he said it's from a different universe. Like, he's very much a different universe. He's more of a joke than anything. And then the third one, which is the only one that's actually, like, technically a canonical character. I don't remember her name. I think it starts with an H. I have all the names for her, but she's one I don't really remember. But she's really from a different universe where Skrull and Tor are part of the same organization. They're like, because I like the Ninjago dish from the Golden Mech that kind of reminded me of the Skrull shield.
Yes.
So
Order of the Skrull.
the Order of the Skrull. Well, technically, her and the Toa Shadow and her pair are both technically Skrull, but more than a designation rather than a species sort of thing.
Exactly.
So, and then yours,
The Toa.
the Toa, yes.
It's a Toe of Light with a Mask of Time. I was real big into Doctor Who, so I'm like, what if the Doctor was a Toa? It'd be a Toe of Light with a Vahi.
It does just seem to make the most sense. It's just the cool specialness of it all. Plus, the masking and gold.
Also,
so.
that's like really OP looking Toa now.
Yep. I mean, there's even a little, you actually made some little comics for that, which I think we mentioned in the previous podcast somewhere a long time ago, so.
Someday I may continue that, if I actually figured out what the story was.
Maybe.
I was just making it up as I go along. Oh, I could take some pictures here.
Yeah.
The
And then I had a vague story.
the how one approach. Just take some pictures and see what dialogue you can throw in there.
Now, there's
I
one.
have at least like a bunch
Now,
of pictures
I
still
will
sitting
say
on
this.
my computer.
Moving from the other type of Toa, moving to the original 6 elements, 6 elements is, one thing that I don't do is I do not make Toa of Ice with blue.
Maybe sand blue.
The only time I use blue is on the Lost Toa's mock, but that was just because I needed to make him look a little less like Kapaka, so I get the sand blue. But it pretty much like, because of like, I was working with Toa Mata bodies, I couldn't afford to do that. I mean, actually, Matora had sand blue briefly, but then I got rid of that. It's like one thing is like, yeah, they can use sand blue, but I won't. Despite Stone, I will gladly use yellow because no one else uses yellow.
My mock that you made of Hinatu is yellow and black.
Yep.
But that's also because of Black Sean.
And I retcon basically Hinatu as the character to be yellow and black.
Even though there's also a tan and brown version still kicking out there.
Yeah, I still have that mock. I like him though, and I don't have a reason.
And my version's yellow and brown.
Yeah.
I also still have my old tan and brown original version.
I
It's
don't mind blue with ice, but it has to be a brighter blue and definitely in a more moderate use.
I would have to agree.
Don't use dark blue.
A brighter
period.
blue is definitely the way to go.
Like baby
don't
blue,
be glue.
trans blue.
Bright
Especially
blue.
trans blue.
Okay, the slogan is "Be bright blue, not like glue."
Yes, very good.
Or you
Blue has
just
too much
go with
force
the
track.
traditional,
Glue looks great as a mock, and he's not Toa, so you can get away with it. So
or keep it with the traditional white and gray.
Nothing wrong with that,
Morton, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, so, and like the one thing that kind of like with the other one Toa is about Toa Fire. You have dark red, you have red, you have orange, you have yellow. You can even throw a bit of black in there. It's like there's a lot of variety. And I
no one
really,
to
don't, I
share with.
really don't build Toa Fire very often. I think I have 3. Which, okay, that sounds like a lot. Actually, no, technically I have 4. However, that was not because I wanted to make Toa Fire. That's because I built Toa Fire with dark red Toa Nuva legs. Alright, so I wanted to make, and for a Toa Nuva body, because I had like all the elements in Toa bodies, and I have pretty much all the Nuva color legs. But then I was like, well, I need a Toa Fire with orange legs, and I just had to come and have another team. So we just kind of came out of necessity. So the first one was red and dark red. This guy's red and orange. And then I ended up building a Toa Duma, because I just really like the character of Duma, and I really want to see a Toa, so he's just black and red. Durr.
Wait,
I forgot another Toa because I had Toa Hordga, who's a black, who's dark red and gray. But then I forgot about How One. He's black. He's red and yellow. Never mind. I have a lot of Toa Fire using all the colors. Never mind. My point became null halfway through.
I
that
have
stage.
quite a few Toa Fire too, and Toa Earth.
Look, Zacta, if you were here, Zacta, if you start counting all your Toa and any element, we'd be here all day.
I mean,
we'd be here all day.
Before a recent building of Toa, I had over 100, and now it's well over 100.
How is that even possible?
Easy. You build 1, then you build 2, then you build 3. Why am I saying build instead of build?
I don't know.
You build 4, you build 5, you bob a 5th.
I mean, sometimes...
I don't think I'm even at 30 Toa.
To be fair, I have like
Maybe
2 teams like this.
Let's see, you have...
I've also remade a
You
Toa
have
Nuva team. I've made a Toa
team.
Mata team.
You have, like, a Metro team, I think.
haven't met your team.
Well, that's 19 so far. You have the Toa, your Gravity Toa, so 21.
And I've got a few Mata builds.
I feel like you've probably broken 30.
Maybe 30, maybe like around. I have around 30, we'll say.
Upwards of 40.
And I have
if
like
you really
one
forgot.
Toa Fire. One.
Who's your Toa Fire
My
again?
Metru guy with the Akaku.
Ah, yes, the Toa Fire. Like, I think he was like the first Toa Fire built almost out of
I
any of
believe
us.
his name's Tagran.
Yeah, Tagran.
Tigran.
Something like that.
See, I'm pretty sure that was the first Toa Fire any of us built.
And I only know that because I remade a version for myself for a short story.
Featured in Bionicle Tales.
Not sanctioned by ACK.
Yeah.
He gives my thumbs up.
The mock was
I realized
cool
we
enough.
didn't talk about like Toa Iron
Story
at
was
all.
fine.
Toa
I like
Iron,
the story, if I recall it correctly.
Oh,
And
thank you.
Skrull?
Skrull,
Killed a bunch of Skrull?
Tuma, yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Revenge.
go wrong with Skrull, and because Skrull are cool.
I believe it got compliments for good photography. I don't know if that was from you or the last How one, but someone said it was good, well photographed.
I think that may have been me.
Yeah, I was just saying, I don't think we talk about Toa Iron at all.
Toe of Iron, the
We
only issue I
briefly
have
mentioned
is
how
they are...
control metal, and that's kind of boring.
We basically went on their basic rules. I'm like, they're fine. Their color scheme is unique. You know, it's metallic.
It stands out. You see them.
like rust. It's like,
I'm okay. The only issue I have with them is their power is way too OP.
Yeah, in the story, they were like, they're too OP. They're all dead now because I could have killed them. Which I'm like, you know what? That's fair. But it does make sense that someone controlled metal. Like,
Which is why I'm happy. I only have 1, maybe 2 Toa of Iron.
I just see it now. I see it now. The whole form of spheres, everything by side of the Great Spirit, realize we're living in a giant robot. All the Toa of Iron come together. They all, you know, they all go to one arm. Manu's in space, and all of a sudden his hand clinches. What the? We got it! Or it's like,
We've done it! We rule the universe!
It's like, we got clinch. Now, gentlemen, raise the finger!
Flip
off the Great Spirit!
Flip off Makuta, the Great Spirit.
Well, it's basically like they're all still alive,
But
and they all die, and the Matsunui robot's just like, how am I going to fix all these things that are falling apart now?
Or jokes on
metal
them.
toe was all dead.
Jokes on them. Manu's made out of plastic.
Yeah.
The Great Spirit is just a giant plastic robot.
That
Well,
is
if you think in a toy sense, yeah, these metal bending toe are useless.
They're just plastic benders. Yeah, no, so I think we covered pretty much everything about their toe elements.
Yeah, yeah.
Much more in depth. This was nice. This was nice.
You know, plastic's made of petroleum. Petroleum is made from decayed organic matter. Does that mean that plastic can be bent by Toa plant control?
No. I don't think so.
Then there should be a toe of oil then.
Very greasy.
Very
fella.
slick guy.
I would see black with dark blue.
I was going to say black with like maybe
Honestly, black and purple would be a good oil color. Black and orange.
No,
oil.
black with hints of rainbows.
Ah. Yeah, start with just a rainbow. A gross rainbow puddle.
Let's go in it there, maybe.
Okay, well, yeah, I think like I said, we covered up a month, so happy Bionicle Day, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this T.O.A Podcast, actually talking about T.O.A again, for namesake, and 50 subscriber special and all that, so
Woo!
And y'all have yourselves a good day, and we are retiring from the night.